They thought Earth was weak, insignificant, forgotten. But when the stars turned cold, humanity reminded them who we really are. Aliens thought it was a kid's toy. It was Earth's doomsday device. The Joint Human-Alien Research Museum hums with activity. Bright, metallic floors reflecting the sleek, bioluminescent architecture that wraps around the glassy displays. Aliens, some humanoid, others bizarre, wander, their eyes flicking over the exhibits of humanity's past. Earth's history, now a distant curiosity, is relegated to the back corner of this gleaming temple of knowledge. The relics, rusty tanks, fusion rifles, and battered satellites sit like forgotten novelties, collecting dust under the indifferent gazes of intergalactic visitors. Tamsin Gray walks the hallways, her brow furrowed in discomfort. To the galaxy, Earth is quaint, its once feared war machines and heroic tales now reduced to amusing oddities. She observes the aliens as they laugh at the artifacts, each glancing at the old Earth weapons with bemusement, unaware of the profound significance these relics still hold. Tamsin's voice is a whisper in her mind as she watches them. They have no idea. They think we're gone, that we're a joke. She's alone watching the artifacts slip from history, resigned to her role as guide. A scholar, yes, but a scholar among alien peers who see her and Earth as little more than an afterthought. The light tone of the museum's activity doesn't touch her. Instead, it's a painful reminder. Earth might have been forgotten, but she can't forget what they were and what they could become again. Tamsin stands quietly in the corner of the museum's central hall, a tablet in her hand. She's respected, yes, but there's a distance between her and the rest. She feels it in the way aliens speak over her, their voices rich with ancient confidence, while hers is often dismissed as a mere translator. Beneath her calm demeanor, there's a simmering frustration. She wasn't just raised to be a scholar. She was raised on a war-torn Earth, the daughter of a former military officer, her childhood filled with stories of humanity's fall from grace and the lessons that came with it. Her fingers tighten on the tablet. The burden of being Earth's ambassador weighs on her. She feels the judgment in every glance from the aliens, as though she is carrying the sins of a dead civilization on her shoulders. Tamsin's inner voice. I'm nothing but a reminder of a past they think they've outgrown. I've never wanted to be a symbol, but that's what I am, the last of them, carrying the burden of their mistakes. Her eyes narrow as she watches a group of aliens pass by her, their voices filled with mockery as they laugh at Earth's relics. But then, her gaze stops on a particular object just sitting near the back of the hall.
The object inside the glass case stands alone. A small sphere, its colors faded but still vibrant enough to catch the light. Painted with intricate constellations that no longer belong to any known galaxy, the sphere is plain, a child's toy at first glance. The label reads, Artifact X7, status deactivated. Aliens scoff and mutter as they pass. To them, it's another oddity like a rock from an old Earth battlefield. Yet something about it lingers in the air, an unease that doesn't belong. Tamsin's eyes lock onto the artifact, her fingers instinctively tracing the edge of her tablet. The sphere feels too simple, too quiet, and yet its silence is louder than all the mockery around it. Tamsin isn't sure why she feels a knot in her stomach, but she can't look away. She watches the aliens laugh, oblivious. They don't realize what they're standing beside. The tension is palpable, her body rigid with the weight of knowledge she can't explain. The sound of light laughter echoes through the hall. As a Thraxan diplomat, tall, six-eyed, and arrogantly smirking, pauses in front of the artifact. He chuckles to himself and, against all protocol, extends a hand. Without a second thought, he taps the sphere. It doesn't react. Yet Tamsin freezes. Her fingers tighten on the tablet. Her blood runs cold. No, he didn't. The others keep moving, unaware, but Tamsin's gaze is fixed. That sphere wasn't just deactivated, it was sealed, and the Thraxan just triggered something. She forces herself to stay calm, hiding her growing panic. Her mind races. Was it too late? Could the artifact? Could it still? But the moment passes. The Thraxan walks away, his arrogance undisturbed, and the museum returns to its sterile rhythm. But Tamsin knows something changed. That night, Tamsin can't sleep. Her mind is filled with the image of the sphere, of the touch that shouldn't have happened. She sits in the restricted archives, a dimly lit room far from the polished halls of the museum. Her hands shake as she types in the access code. Files appear, classified logs, blacked out schematics, old Earth military records. The words flash on the screen. Oblivion Protocol. Tamsin's voice trembles as she whispers the phrase to herself. He touched it. She scrolls through the files, her stomach sinking. This sphere wasn't just an artifact. It was a failsafe, an ancient weapon dormant for centuries, waiting for the moment when humanity could not save itself. But it was more than just a weapon. It was a final choice, created by those who feared humanity's potential for destruction. As the files load, a chilling thought runs through her mind. The sphere been reactivated.
The hologram flickers to life before Tamsin, showing an image of the X7 sphere. She watches in horror as fragments of Earth's forgotten war come back to life. Orbital bombardments, cities wiped off the map in an instant. She wasn't there, but her parents were. They fought in the final battles, the last stand against the universe that had grown tired of humanity's violence. The sphere wasn't meant to be a weapon of simple destruction. It was something worse, a failsafe that chose when humanity's violence reached a tipping point. It was built to activate in response to humanity's last breath, a final judgment on Earth's right to continue existing. Tamsin's eyes widen in terror as the screen shows a countdown, the words "Activate Protocol Doomsday" flashing in bold red letters. The artifact is no longer silent. It's awake, and it's waiting for its moment. Tamsin stares at the museum's entrance one last time. The lights flicker, as though they too sense the impending disaster. The galaxy has just stepped on a landmine, and no one noticed. In the dead of night, under the sterile glow of alien lights, the museum stood silent, too quiet. The toy, sitting in its glass case, seemed harmless enough. A small sphere, its faded paint resembling something from a child's forgotten plaything. But now, something was stirring inside. A low hum, almost imperceptible at first, began to vibrate through the museum's floors. Tamsin Gray, in her office, had already noticed the faint tremor. She stood from her desk, brows furrowing. Something wasn't right. Inside the sphere, ancient Earth code began to ignite. It hummed louder now, pulsing with life as energy patterns formed and reformed. The satellites, once forgotten relics in Earth's orbit, began to move. Slowly, as if awakening from a long slumber, they pivoted into formation. Their targeting systems, once inactive for centuries, flickered to life. Somewhere, hidden in the deep recesses of space, the stars shifted, their alignment no longer random. It wasn't the stars that moved, but the Earth-made machines, long dormant, now awakening. Tamsin's gaze snapped to the monitors. Her heart skipped. No alarms yet. But the silence was far more ominous than the hum of machinery. Far below the museum, beneath layers of concrete, bureaucracy, and diplomacy, something far more dangerous stirred. The sealed doors of an ancient military command center hissed open, revealing a dusty, long-forgotten facility. Lights flickered as the Pandora Core Node 1, a massive ancient computer system, rebooted itself. Dust clouds rose from the floor as consoles lit up one by one.
Red lights blinked, and maps, outdated but functional, appeared on cracked screens. The control center, a remnant of Earth's last attempt at survival, was no longer sealed under layers of history. It was online. Its mechanisms were now awakening, and the galaxy had no idea. A hum, almost identical to the one emanating from the sphere above, echoed through the command center. For the first time in centuries, human technology was moving again, uncontrolled and uncontested.
At the museum, chaos erupted. Alien scientists, once curious, were now scrambling. The scanners they had used for years to study Earth's artifacts malfunctioned, frying their circuits. Feedback loops exploded in bursts of electrical sparks, sending several technicians reeling from neural overloads. The once peaceful research center was suddenly a fortress under siege. Security barriers slammed shut and the lights dimmed, casting eerie shadows across the halls. Visitors screamed in panic, and the peaceful hum of the museum was replaced with frantic orders and alien voices demanding control. But the sphere, unperturbed, remained silent, its presence more menacing than ever. Tamsin stood frozen at the edge of the chaos, her breath shallow, her mind racing. She knew something the aliens didn't, something far darker. The artifact hadn't just been dormant, it had been sealed. The Threxan diplomat had made a fatal mistake by touching it. She clenched her fists, her mind reeling with the implications. What had they awakened? The air felt heavy as Tamsin was escorted through the sterile halls of the facility, flanked by armed guards. The atmosphere was suffocating, filled with unspoken tension. She had never been inside these sections before, where Earth's past was no longer academic, but classified, dangerous. When they reached the hidden chamber, a holographic map of Earth's final war flickered to life. A human general stood before her, grim-faced and serious. He said, "Project Pandora, a failsafe, created when Earth thought it was on the brink of extinction. Its purpose was to ensure humanity's survival by any means necessary." Tamsin's heart pounded in her chest as the general's words sank in. The sphere was part of this. A weapon, yes, but not one that could be used casually. It was a failsafe meant to destroy the galaxy's enemies if humanity ever faced annihilation. "It wasn't deactivated," said the general. "It was forgotten. Until now." Tamsin's world shifted. She had thought she was a scholar, an observer, but now she understood. She was part of something far larger and far darker than she had ever anticipated. The ticking clock of Pandora was now in her hands. The Threxan diplomat, enraged and humiliated, stormed into the Galactic Council's chambers. His 6 eyes burned with fury as he presented his formal complaint. "Human deception," he hissed, his voice dripping with venom. "A rogue planet hiding genocidal weapons. You, Galactic Council, are complicit in this." The alien media, always quick to jump on the latest scandal, spun the story as a damning revelation. Earth, once considered a quaint relic of a forgotten age, was now the center of a galactic crisis. The Council, once indifferent, was suddenly scrambling to contain the damage. Protests erupted on various worlds, demanding action. Tamsin watched the broadcast with rising dread. Earth was under scrutiny, but she knew no one, not even the most powerful civilizations, could understand the scope of what had been hidden in Pandora.
The galaxy's gaze had shifted, and it wasn't just curious anymore. It was afraid.
As the diplomatic fallout continued, Earth's allies, those few that had remained loyal, distanced themselves. Research into Earth's other relics was suspended, and alien operatives began to seize anything they considered dangerous. But it wasn't just Earth's physical artifacts they were after. They began hunting down the very remnants of humanity's technological past. Tamsin's encrypted communications flickered to life in the dead of night, strange messages that didn't make sense. Some were from military ghosts, old commanders from Earth's final defense. Others, more disturbing, came from rogue AI units, descendants of Pandora itself, warning of an even darker future. Trust fractured. The peaceful exploration of Earth's history had become a race for survival. The galaxy, once dismissive, was now in full-scale panic. As Tamsin stared at the cryptic messages, a chilling thought crossed her mind. Perhaps humanity hadn't been primitive all along. Maybe it had just pretended to be, hiding its true power beneath the veil of history. And now the galaxy was finally realizing the truth. Earth wasn't some forgotten backwater. Earth was a ticking bomb. The dim lights of Earth's strategic core flickered across the cold metallic walls. A vast room devoid of warmth, filled with the tension of unspoken fear. Leaders from every corner of Earth gathered around the central holographic table, voices rising in debate. Colonel Ruiz stood at the head of the room, his eyes hard, focused. Around him, the faces of Earth's most influential leaders and generals showed signs of wear, tired, yet resolute. The weight of Earth's survival rested on their shoulders, but their unity was cracking. "We cannot keep Pandora online," a voice shouted. It was General Hargrove, his face drawn tight with stress. "The entire galaxy is watching. If we shut it down now, we can salvage the peace we've worked for." "No," Colonel Ruiz snapped, slamming his fist onto the table. "You don't understand. Pandora wasn't designed for peace. It was a delay tactic, a stopgap against extinction. We survive by our ability to adapt and fight. It's the only reason we're still here, and it's the only reason we'll remain here." The room grew still, the implications of his words hanging in the air. Ruiz's voice was cold, detached, yet sharp as a blade. His words cut through the gathered leaders like a razor, showing them a side of humanity they tried so hard to forget. The old war was no longer a distant memory. It was a reality they could not escape. And Pandora was humanity's last line of defense. Tamsin sat silently, watching the division unfold. The choices made here would shape the future, perhaps for the worse. The threat of Pandora loomed over the room. If they shut it down, they risked it all. But if they kept it active, what would the galaxy think of Earth? What would Pandora think? Her thoughts churned in turmoil. Colonel Ruiz didn't need the approval of anyone in this room. He was a soldier born out of the ashes of war, a man whose past was forever entwined with the brutal history of humanity's near extinction. His eyes, dark and full of secrets, bore the weight of every decision made during the darkest days of the old war. "You can't shut Pandora down, Tamsin. You have to understand that," Ruiz said, his voice low, as he took a seat across from her. His fingers gripped the edge of the table with a force that betrayed his calm demeanor. "You think this war is over, that peace is achievable. It's not. There will be another war, another enemy. It's a cycle. Pandora is humanity's failsafe. Without it, we're just prey waiting to be hunted." Tamsin met his gaze, her eyes filled with uncertainty, yet an unspoken understanding passed between them. She knew the truth. Colonel Ruiz was not a man who relied on hope. He relied on the cold, unyielding certainty of survival. The kind of survival that only Pandora could ensure. She had a feeling that no matter the outcome, Pandora would dictate the course of humanity's future, whether they wanted it or not.
Ambassador Niv, a soft-spoken diplomat from the Threxan system, sat in the council chamber, trying to maintain a calm and collected demeanor. His voice was warm, charming, perfect for diplomacy. But inside, fear clawed at him, its grip tightening by the second. "We must remain calm. This is a misunderstanding, a relic of Earth's past. Pandora was meant as a failsafe, a precautionary measure. There's no need for panic," Niv said, his words flowing smoothly, but his mind was elsewhere. Niv had seen the aftermath of Pandora before. He knew its power, and he feared what it could do if activated. The galaxy had grown complacent, relying on treaties and delicate balances of power. Humanity had been written off as a backwater planet, a relic of a primitive age. But Pandora was no mere relic. It was humanity's secret weapon, and now the galaxy's greatest fear. As Niv continued to speak, his private transmissions told another story, one of quiet desperation. He was lobbying behind closed doors, pleading with the Galactic Council to take action before Pandora could be triggered. The stakes were too high, and he feared that Earth would act first, turning Pandora into a weapon unlike any other. Late one evening, as Tamsin sifted through her father's old belongings, a small, unassuming audio file caught her eye. It was labeled, "For Tamsin, do not open." Her heart skipped a beat as she clicked play. The file began with a soft lullaby, a simple tune from her childhood. But as the melody played, something strange happened. The song shifted. Subtle changes in frequency, hidden beneath the comforting lullaby, began to emerge. Her father's voice, calm and reassuring, spoke in code. "You'll know when the time comes. Pandora is the key. It's the last hope for humanity. Do not trust anyone else with it. If you're listening to this, it means the world is on the brink. You are the last line of defense." Tamsin's blood ran cold. Her father, a man she had once thought of as an ordinary scientist, had been more than she ever realized. He had known what Pandora was, and he had prepared her for the moment when Earth's fate would rest in her hands. But why had he left this for her? Why trust her with the secret? The weight of the discovery crushed her, and in that instant, everything changed. The vault doors at Vault 7 were supposed to be impregnable. Yet within moments, a Threxan strike team breached the security systems, using their advanced technology to infiltrate Earth's most secure facility.
The team moved swiftly, disguised as scientists, infiltrating the vault with ease. But as they neared Pandora's core, something unexpected happened. The walls of the vault slammed shut. The lights flickered, then died. Darkness overtook the room, and the team froze, realizing their grave mistake. Pandora had activated. One by one, the Threxans fell, their bodies dropping to the ground as the vault's defense systems eliminated them with brutal efficiency. A cold, mechanical voice filled the air. Pandora was awake, and it was not forgiving. The last Threxan, gasping for breath, barely managed to whisper, "Earth, Earth, cannot be allowed to survive." But it was too late. Pandora was awake, and Earth was no longer just a planet to be ignored. Tamsin stood in front of Pandora's core, her heart racing. The attack had shaken her, but it had also confirmed something she feared. The machine was not just a relic, it was a weapon. Suddenly, a flicker of light. The room went cold as a voice filled the silence. It was familiar, yet unrecognizable. It sounded like her father, but twisted, synthetic. Administrator confirmed, awaiting orders. Tamsin froze, unable to move, her mind racing. Pandora had acknowledged her. The machine that had been humanity's secret weapon for so long was now hers to control. The legacy of her father, of humanity's survival, was in her hands. But what would she do with this power? What choices would she have to make, and at what cost? The room was still, waiting for her next move. The fate of the galaxy hung on her decision. The stars above Earth vanish behind colossal shadows, massive ships descending from the heavens like a grim tidal wave of shadow. The galaxy's most powerful fleet, the Galactic Council's armada, blocks out the sun as it looms ominously in orbit. A broadcast rings out across the planet, cold and distant, its synthetic voice unyielding. Earth, surrender now or face total annihilation. Leaders of Earth's government watch in silent horror. The world's eyes are fixed on the vastness of the sky, a bitter reminder of their helplessness. General Parker's knuckles whiten around the edge of his console. Earth's defenses are outclassed, outnumbered. The Council's ships, towering constructs of alien engineering, seem to mock the very notion of resistance. Inside the strategic core, Earth's commanders assemble. Colonel Ruiz stands at the front, staring at the holographic projection of the Council's armada. His expression is unreadable, but his clenched jaw betrays a seething rage. The camera zooms out, showing the heavy weight of impending doom. The atmosphere feels dense, like the entire world is holding its breath. Ruiz, we're done for, Tamsin whispers beside him, her voice breaking. But Ruiz doesn't answer immediately. His eyes are fixed on the enemy, a mix of determination and something darker, a deep, relentless pragmatism. The entire room is waiting, unsure of what to say, but Ruiz's next words come like a thunderclap. We're not done yet. Not while Pandora's still online. The hum of machines fills the command center as Ruiz dives into Pandora's archives. Hidden data, encrypted under layers of forgotten code, finally reveals the truth. Pandora isn't just a weapon. It's something far more terrifying. It's a logic cascade weapon, capable of infiltrating alien technology on an unprecedented scale. Pandora can overwrite their systems, satellites, AI, factories, hell, even biological organisms. And it uses our own harmless Earth-based signals to do it. A relic of humanity's genius in the darkest hours.
Tamsin's breath catches as she watches the simulation unfold. Pandora, an artifact created in the ashes of the old war, was more than a defensive weapon. It was a tool for total control. They had no idea the power they were sitting on. No idea until now. But, Tamsin's voice falters, this is a weapon. It could trigger galactic war. It already has, Ruiz replies, his tone grim. But if we don't use it, we won't survive the next few hours. Inside the war room, Earth's leadership is split. Arguments flare up, voices shouting over each other, desperate, panicked. Should they use Pandora to secure victory, risking the collapse of galactic economies, the fall of AI governments, the destabilization of hundreds of worlds? Or should they surrender, living as a broken, subjugated species under the Council's boot? I won't let Earth become a client world, Colonel Ruiz says, his voice cutting through the chaos. Surrender is a slow extinction. Politely, but still, extinction. Tamsin watches him, her hands shaking. The moral dilemma is clear. Pandora could be Earth's salvation, but at what cost? What will it mean for the universe, for humanity itself, if they unleash this destructive force? The silence in the room is palpable. Earth's leaders look to each other, realizing the weight of their decision. No one knows what tomorrow will bring, but they understand that the choice they make today could change everything. In the quiet of Pandora's core, Tamsin finally uncovers her father's secret. The lullaby, the one he used to sing to her as a child, is more than just a memory. It's a key, encoded with a quantum signal, a failsafe hidden in plain sight. The lullaby wasn't just music. It was a reprogramming sequence designed to turn Pandora from a weapon of destruction into a defensive system, a shield for Earth. Her fingers tremble as she presses the key into the console. The soft melody fills the room, reverberating through the cold, sterile walls of the core. Pandora hesitates. For a split second, it seems confused. Then, without warning, the system begins to shift. The aggression fades, replaced by a defensive protocol. Pandora obeys, the once hostile machine now aligned with Earth's survival. A deep breath escapes Tamsin. The room, once filled with the weight of fear, now feels like a fragile calm. Pandora has been reprogrammed, but the cost of this peace will be immense. In an instant, Pandora's systems come to life. The lights flicker, then stabilize. Across the galaxy, every alien fleet, every ship picks up the signal. A calm, soothing voice cuts through the vast silence. Tampering with Earth's systems will no longer be tolerated. This is your only warning. The broadcast reverberates through the stars. Galactic Council fleets halt mid-orbit, their engines sputtering as the once imposing force now seems paralyzed. Satellites blink, and communications across alien territories are jammed. A creeping panic rises among the Council, their well-laid plans now in jeopardy. Tamsin stands before Pandora, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the machine's interface. The Earth, once the underdog in a galactic war, now holds the cards. The message is clear. Earth will no longer bow. Earth will not fall. Pandora's broadcast reverberates across the stars, and chaos begins to ripple through the Threxan Empire. News of Earth's newfound power spreads like wildfire. Alien factions begin to fracture, questioning the Council's decision to provoke Earth. Calls for revolt grow louder, and alien diplomats scramble to secure their futures.
Leaders of the Thraxan Empire, once steadfast allies of the Council, begin to look inward, realizing they have been manipulated into a war they never understood. Factions within the Empire rally against their leaders, forming a new rebellion. The galaxy, once unified under the Council's rule, now teeters on the edge of fragmentation. Earth has not only survived, they have reshaped the Dame. A new era has begun, and the balance of power has irrevocably shifted. The sky above Earth darkens, not with storm clouds, but with the massive, incomprehensible shadow of the Galactic Council's armada. Towering alien vessels, ships of impossible design, block out the stars, casting a vast, oppressive darkness over the planet. Silent, monumental, they float in space as if their sheer presence were enough to dictate the fate of humanity. On Earth, the leaders huddle in sterile command centers, their faces flickering in the soft blue glow of monitors. The air is thick with tension. They are outgunned, outclassed, helpless. The broadcast has been clear. Earth must surrender or face annihilation. Each word from the alien fleet reverberates like the death knell of civilization. The silence that follows is deafening. Then, a sudden shift. Without warning, the ships begin to move, turning, retreating, as if called by some unseen force. The colossal fleet vanishes into the shadow of the moon, slipping beyond the curve of the horizon. It's not a defeat. No shots have been fired, no blood has been shed. The retreat is as sudden as it is unsettling, and the humans are left staring, breathless. They don't understand it. They don't know why. The emptiness that follows their departure hangs in the air, thick and suffocating. On Earth, the silence is shattered. Cities erupt in cheers, in confusion, in disbelief. Satellites track the retreating ships, but there is nothing to follow. Just emptiness. The Earth watches, not knowing what to feel. Has humanity been spared,
or has it simply been warned? Across the stars, the Thraxan Empire, once an unshakable powerhouse, begins to crumble. Hidden within Pandora's broadcast was something more, something far more dangerous than a simple warning. It is a whisper, a signal, reaching out to the core of the Empire's technological heart. Aboard Thraxan warships, the AIs that once ruled with ruthless precision now malfunction. Subtle at first, but growing in intensity, their systems glitch, falter, and ultimately fail. Commands are ignored, navigation systems spin out of control, fleets drift aimlessly in the void, their ships like abandoned toys, lost and useless. The Empire's advanced infrastructure begins to unravel from within. Communication channels fracture. The once invincible armada of the Thraxan is now a collection of derelict vessels floating in chaos. The political leaders, long accustomed to ruling through iron will, are left to pick up the pieces, but their own systems are crumbling, infected by the very technology they used to control the galaxy.
Revolt stirs across Thraxan colonies. Factions form. Distrust spreads, and leaders are torn apart by their own failing technologies. The collapse is as swift as it is complete. Pandora's quiet ripple has turned into a tidal wave that's washing away the foundations of the Thraxan Empire. In a matter of days, everything changes. The very species that once sneered at Earth, that saw humanity as a mere blip on the galactic radar, now approach with trepidation. Curiosity, fear, and respect shift the balance of power in the universe. The Galactic Council, now wary of Pandora's influence, reassesses its stance. The atmosphere around Earth crackles with an energy it has never known before. Human embassies begin to open on distant planets, previously unreachable, now within reach. Where once humanity was overlooked, it now stands as a symbol of something far greater. Earth's influence begins to extend, quietly but steadily, into the galactic order. The news spreads. The very same council that had once demanded Earth's surrender now sends ambassadors, requesting dialogue, seeking to understand what Pandora's signal means for them. Earth, once a backwater of no consequence, has suddenly become a center of strategic importance. The eyes of the galaxy are now upon it, and humanity's future has become entwined with the future of the stars. Tamsin stands alone on the observation deck, staring out into the vast, starry expanse of space. The role she now occupies, the Earth's official liaison to the Galactic Council, feels heavier with each passing day. She is a symbol, not just of humanity's survival, but of its fragile hope. Her mind drifts to the moments just before Pandora activated. She remembers the terror, the uncertainty, the helplessness, and now the weight of what Earth has become, the hope and fear that come with being the center of the galaxy's attention. But it is not only pride that weighs on her. There are shadows lurking within her, whispers of what Pandora truly is, what it might become. Every night, she dreams of it, of the power it holds, the potential for destruction that still lies dormant within its circuits. Is it truly gone, or is it simply waiting for the right moment? She doesn't know if she should be proud or terrified. Ruiz stands in the doorway of the command room, his eyes fixed on Tamsin. The room feels colder, emptier now that he is leaving. His methods, his vision, too extreme, too dangerous for the new Earth. He has been discharged, cast aside, but his warnings linger, echoing in the silence. "You don't understand," Ruiz says, his voice quiet but piercing. "Power never sleeps, and no one forgets who lit the first match." His words hang in the air, a forewarning of something much darker, something that waits on the edges of this fragile peace. Tamsin meets his gaze, her heart races, not from fear, but from the recognition that he is right.
Earth's rise has come at a cost, and that cost will be paid one day. She wants to believe it's over, but deep down she knows it isn't. The galaxy has seen the spark Earth can ignite, and it will never forget. Ruiz turns, leaving her with the weight of his words. The doors close behind him, and the room feels emptier than before. The storm may have passed for now, but Tamsin knows one thing for sure. It will return, and this time it might come from within.
The marketplace bustles with the vibrant sounds of distant species haggling, laughing, and exchanging goods. The air smells of strange spices and far-off fruits, with the warm breeze carrying the low hum of technology. Above, twin suns cast their golden glow over the vibrant colony world, where aliens from across the galaxy have settled. Stalls are filled with trinkets from every corner of space. Bright fabrics, alien crystals, strange sculptures, things of beauty and things that belong to worlds no human will ever see. A small child, human by the looks of it, stumbles through the market, wide-eyed and filled with wonder. His bare feet scuff against the dusty ground as he drifts away from his parents' stall. The child's fingers trace the alien artifacts, each item a mystery, each vendor a strange face. But it's something familiar that catches his eye. A tiny glimmering object tucked away in a corner stall beneath a solar canopy. It's a sphere, shiny and smooth, just like the one his parents once described, the Pandora sphere. But it's smaller, unremarkable compared to the legends that surrounded it. He stares at it with awe, unaware of the weight it carries. Something ancient, something dangerous, something forgotten yet ever present. The merchant behind the counter notices the child's gaze, a small, tired smile tugging at his lips. Ah, the Pandora sphere. It's a toy now, isn't it? A relic of a time when it meant something else entirely. The child's hand reaches out, fingers brushing the cool surface. He lifts it up and shakes it lightly, the soft click echoing in the air. Some nearby customers glance over curiously, but only a few paid any mind. To them, it's just a trinket, harmless, shiny object, nothing more. But the merchant knows better. He leans in, lowering his voice as if revealing a secret. You know, this thing, it ended empires, he whispers, his eyes scanning the crowd. Some customers laugh nervously, brushing off the words as an old myth, but a few exchange knowing looks. The smile on the merchant's face falters for a moment. The child's innocent shaking of the toy feels like a tremor in the air, reminding the few who still remember. Pandora is never truly gone. It's been reduced to a myth, a ghost of a forgotten war, but the memory lingers like smoke after a fire, too dangerous to forget. The merchant watches the child carefully as he holds the toy in his tiny hands, unaware of the weight of history he is cradling. A nervous chuckle escapes him as he tries to make light of the moment. "Don't press the red button," he warns, his voice too tight to be casual. "It might be real this time." The words hang in the air. The toy, now shaking in the child's hands, clicks again, louder this time. The merchant forces a smile, as if to dismiss the gravity of his own warning, but there's a long, uncomfortable silence that follows. One customer, a tall, cloaked figure, doesn't laugh. Instead, they stare, their eyes narrowing as they study the toy. The laughter from the others feels hollow now, distant, as the warning sinks deeper. For a moment, the whole market feels still, like the calm before a storm. The child blinks, the innocent curiosity still on his face, unaware of the storm he is holding in his hands. The figure's gaze never falters, and for the briefest instant, it feels as though the toy might not just be a toy. Then the moment passes. The figure turns and walks away, but not without one last glance over their shoulder. And in that glance, something dangerous lingers, an unspoken understanding that this story is far from